this is cool because now you can just.
I like having an armrest.
Yeah, I like it. It's a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, yeah. How's it going? How was your week?
It's really good. It's really good. Family Christmas this weekend, so got to hang out with the nieces and nephews.
It's like January the 20th.
Yeah, we have a family situation where a lot of people they go out to their in-laws.
Yeah. Oh,
right.
Yeah.
My brother and sister go to their in-laws, and so it was a Christmas this year on the 25th of December. Me, mom, and dad, like it was when I was 5. You know, so we got to have that one. But then all the nieces and nephews running around. So as a musician, it is of the utmost importance that I'm as musical as possible around them. You know.
Did you wear footy pajamas?
No footy pajamas.
It's just you and your mom and dad, and you don't request like
I put my hair in a top bun and we watched Hallmark Channel and White Christmas.
Nice.
That's like our tradition.
Nice, dude.
And then we look up facts about White Christmas and Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye and all those guys. Like that was what I grew up on musically.
My wife is all into White Christmas. Dude.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. And she learned it from her mom and dad too. Same thing.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. That's
I mean,
funny.
And I loved it because everybody is in that era was so smooth.
Yeah.
Like your whole bit was, and I know this isn't real life, but you know, your whole bit was being as smooth as possible without letting anybody know anything about yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so it was like you really got to see the performer at its best. In like
it was a different day too.
Yeah, right. I mean, these guys were Renaissance men. They would sing, you know, a classical piece and then tap dance, and then you know, tell a joke, and then play an instrument like in 5 minutes. And I just, you know, that kind of a musician.
Yeah.
Was kind of just for me growing up was goals, you know, be able to entertain. Just
Entertainers.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you ever tried to tap dance?
Okay.
Ooh, is that a story?
I did take swing dance lessons, and for a couple years.
Oh.
Because I was trying to learn the.
I know why you took swing dance lessons.
All right, cool. And then I was dating the girl that wanted to take it.
Everybody has that story.
But I was also like, there was also that part of me that said, well, maybe I'll get better rhythm if I can put it in my body.
Yeah.
I can only hippie dance, man.
Yeah, yeah.
I can only hippie dance.
You just got the shuffle.
That's it. That's it. You know? So I got good rhythm. I just don't know where to put it.
I'm terrible at dancing. I'm self-conscious all the time. I'm like, you know how it is. It's just like, it feels like the whole room is looking at you for no reason. Nobody is, but I get so self-conscious.
Well, I was thinking about that, you and dancing when we were watching Spafford. And I was like, well, this is really cool because me and him just get to kind of lean on a rail and we don't have to feel that pressure.
Well,
I thought about that.
That's honestly how it's kind of a trope, you know, like it is a little bit of a meme of like one musician watching another musician. They sit there with their arms folded and they give a scowl on their face or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I probably do that. And it is not on purpose. It really is just because I really like watching shows. And I get invested in the show and I just sit there and watch. And especially a show where me and you were talking, I've got somebody close by who, you know, was like, that was cool. This is, you know, we had talked about, you told me about the Monster Guitar Tones is what you said, I think last week. And I just kind of bypassed that. Was just like, yeah, you know, cool. All guitar players have
all guitars, yes.
But you were right. That dude is on another level when it comes to guitar tone. I mean, he had different tones literally almost every single song, and some of them were really invented. It's been a long time since I've heard somebody have a guitar tone that I was like, what is that combination? I don't even know that.
Yeah, he was very expressive and so fluid with his fingers. I mean, it was effortless. One thing that was interesting to me about his effects was he had dynamic progression.
Yeah.
In the same effect, right?
Yeah,
so he would have like his lead tone on, but 4 different stages of volume.
Yeah.
So he could be like, okay, we're getting more intense. I'm going to
turn the volume up,
bump it up
bit.
to 50%. And he had so much volume behind that he wasn't letting on until he absolutely needed to.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
From a just jam band perspective, thank you, lead guitarist, for being dynamically aware.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You know, and I understand certain situations, like if you're in an Allman Brothers tribute, you got to have those amps kind of moving because that's how you got the sound.
Yeah.
But if you do get to choose, and man,
But what you're
the
basically
volume-
saying for the layperson is,
Yes, sorry.
he's bringing his volume down on stage a lot, as opposed to just having the volume cranked at the same level the whole time.
How
So he's bringing his volume down when the organ
Mhm.
player's playing, or when the bass player's really have something cool,
Mhm.
or when the vocals are singing. He's consciously turning the volume of his guitar down so as not to get in the way,
right.
which
And-
is not something that everybody does.
Not something that everybody does, and not something everybody has the ability to bridle their tone to do. Some people just can't do it.
Or even recognize.
Right.
Even
Like
recognize that
some
they need
people
to.
can't turn their guitar down enough to get to that point.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I just appreciate, and their drummer was dynamically aware. I'm talking soft touch
Yeah.
up until the point of execution. So, in some of the best synth tones I've ever heard, like
Yeah.
all the tones from that keyboard was
I was really curious about the rig. Number one thing that I thought was really cool, Barrel House Ballroom folks, all of the production staff that I talked to said their entire crew is the nicest crew of, folks that they've had. And this place sees bands all the time, literally 5 times a week.
Right.
So, for them to say they're the nicest band we've ever had, you're talking about hundreds and hundreds of bands, and they were just so like complimentary about how cool everybody was. Nobody had attitudes, and when you're on the road, you're in a van, you're day in and day out, inside and outside of these venues. It can, I'm sure, you can get a little testy from time to time, but like having a venue like these guys say, coolest, nicest people I've ever met, was really, really cool. So good job, Spafford. Way to keep people around. That's cool.
absolutely. And one great thing I've heard from jam bands about Barrel House too is it's the same way. They want to come here. So when you're seeing when you're seeing bands come up and give you a great show, a lot of that has to do with the venue. And when you're seeing venues present a great space and a great night, a lot of that has to do with the band. So
Yeah,
it's a very synergistic and symbiotic relationship.
Yeah.
You know?
But I thought that was cool. I just thought that was cool.
Absolutely.
That's not a compliment that you catch a
No,
lot
you
of
don't get
time.
that about bands at all.
Yeah.
You don't hear, wow, what a refreshing group of people.
Yeah,
You
those
know?
guys were really nice.
Right.
It's usually like they got one guy who's
And if you hear that about bands, that they're nice, please tell everybody that they're nice. I want to hear more about nice bands.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Nice bands.
Yeah.
Friday, I did get a chance I took your advice and went to see the show with Legato and Hard Luck and Lakes Band.
Trade Secrets.
Trade Secrets
Mhm.
with Daniel Foster singing.
Mm-hmm.
Man, oh man, let me tell you, that was a heck of a night, man. And just for local Chattanoogan's, I mean, if you couldn't get here, we all have things we have to do, but man, we had a really, really good crowd, number one. Number two, man, all 3 of those bands came out and freaking left it all on the stage and killed, man. I mean, all 3 bands did really, really well. I was really excited. I hadn't seen a full Hard Luck set that wasn't. Cherry Street Tavern's a great place. I love going
Right.
there. But the last time I went there was the last time I had seen them play was at Cherry Street Tavern, and I just had somebody in my ear who was talking a lot.
Right.
And you know how that gets that way sometimes where you're like
Yeah.
trying to be nice. And so I was trying to be nice and really could only kind of pay half attention to the band. This time, though, I was here with Christy, and we were just chilling, just listening to that. Man, their freaking tone. There's another one with great guitar tones, man, and
Incredible.
really throwback, really familiar, like Southern rock style guitars. This is really, really good. It's kind of a throwback to Leonard Skinner. It's a throwback to the Allman Brothers. It's that, really cool dual harmony guitar style. I just loved it, man. Honestly, their whole set was great, and Josh Driver does such a great job as a front man. I mean, he's born to do that. He's born to be the front man of a Southern rock band. I mean, he's literally just found his home, I think, So I'm excited to see more like cool things out of that band. I did, however, I broke one of our like golden rules of one of the things that we've talked about doing.
Oh, no.
Which is like by the time the end of that Hard Luck show was coming to an end, I'd had a big day.
Mm.
My wife, who was my date for the night, had
Yeah.
a big day.
Yeah.
And we were both just dying. So like basically as soon as they got done playing, I was like, all right, let's get going.
Right.
So we hit the skids and we didn't hang out and we weren't good hangs.
Right.
And I wasn't a very good like musician friend. I should have hung around and just been like, at least told him in person, like,
Right.
hey, that's great. But I
Did
mean,
you see him before? I mean, did you come? How early did you come to the show?
I saw all three bands. I got there about 2. I got right as Lake and Daniel, those guys were getting started. So the first band was just starting when I got here. And I talked to Josh. I mean, he knows I was there. I talked to him. It's not like that.
Right.
But
right, yeah.
it was, I mean, he felt supported, I'm sure. But like the afterwards of like hanging out or whatever, man, I just didn't have it in me or to kick it or what. I just had to get going.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And we all have to do that, you know, from time to time. That's the exception that makes the rules, I guess.
Well, that's assuming that everybody else here didn't do the same thing, right? You know, it's winter time. Sometimes everybody understands. I think I don't like ever, especially if somebody's like way of being is that they're gonna, they're always gonna be there. They're gonna hang out. If somebody doesn't, like for example, if you didn't make the hang, I'm gonna be like, oh, okay, he's got stuff to do. Yeah, right? It's not like a par for the course with, oh, Randy's just not gonna be here. I don't think that's the case.
Yeah. So, I mean, it kind of begs the question to me: do you find it like easier or harder to be friends with other musicians?
When I first started a career in music, my mentor told me, and it was mentor by necessity. Somebody was put in my life that it was like, dude, get it together. Here's your guy.
Yeah.
And he was like, man, you're going to struggle in your career. And this is just what he said. I said, well, what do you mean? He said, brother, you believe in the brotherhood and you believe in the family of it all. That's what you're here to, he said, and you're going to find that people just aren't that way.
Yeah.
And I can't not collaborate. I think we're always collaborating no matter what.
Yeah,
and I think acknowledging who I'm collaborating with outside of a tag on Instagram or something like that, whose venues I'm playing with, for example, me and John Shoemaker have been collaborating for years, at JJ's. And I've never thought about it like that, until we kind of started bringing up collaboration. And so it's really the most rewarding thing to do is collaborate, to me.
Yeah.
To me.
So having that, like with that pressure or with that
mm-hmm.
being part of a relationship, do you
mm-hmm.
think it's easier or harder to be friends with musicians than it is to be friends with like, someone who, their passions are in something else that's not in music?
Depends on the personality.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And it depends, and I'm finding, this is a new thing, establishing and retaining the values that built that relationship initially.
Yeah.
Like what drew me to this person? And if what we're doing strays from those values without being communicated, there's a lot of reassessment that needs to be done.
So does that happen more often with musicians or with just other folks?
I think it happens the same everywhere, but it's more obvious with musicians.
I gotcha.
Because we're all collaborating, going back to that.
Yeah.
No matter what we're doing. But what people I don't think, and what I have not estimated into the equation, is that people take not only what they do, but themselves very seriously.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, like, I take what I do very seriously. The goal is to not take myself seriously.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I'm not great at it, and everybody's teaching me to do it more every day. But no part of collaboration, either not collaborating or it's just as hard either way.
Yeah.
In my opinion. The risk and the reward is dead middle, right down the middle. It's because there's some people that aren't collaborating with people at all. That just write it all. However, then on the back end, they're collaborating with people to play their own stuff.
Yeah.
So there's always some form of collaboration.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it almost seems like this day and age, you can't get stuff out. You can't promote without helping other people or having other people. If it's a show, you're at least hitting that venue up and saying, look, let's do this together. Mm-hmm. If you got another artist on there, it's you and that artist or you and that artist in that venue. constantly trying to promo, you know.
And you're collaborating with Facebook. You're collaborating with Instagram.
For sure.
You're collaborating with Spotify. You know, there's all these. It just kind of got me going to like, whoa, I'm working with a lot of different entities,
Mm-hmm.
and to kind of address those, because a lot of times defining the relationship with the collaboration needs to be addressed at, you know, quarterly, yearly, twice a year.
Just saying, like, what are we doing?
Yeah, what are we
like
doing?
kind of a catch up or
What are we doing?
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
And I think that with musicians, that's harder because the hang is so. I mean, dude, there were times at band practice where we would hang for 45 minutes and practice for 30 minutes before and 30 minutes after, but it was just a hang because somebody was dealing with something,
Oh, man.
you know, or something like that. So it's just like you never know what that collaboration might be,
We
but
can
always
We
what-
can never be in a band together.
Yeah,
we
there
can
you go.
never.
never.
It's funny. We do our rehearsals right now
Uh-huh.
are 9 to 10:30 at night. Right.
Uh-huh.
I show
Straight?
up at 8:30,
Mhm.
set up the recording stuff
Mhm.
because we do recordings to send everybody out so
Mhm.
that they know what all we recorded or whatever,
Mhm.
or what we practiced. Set up the recording stuff. We're out the door by 10:30.
Mm-hmm.
That's the request.
Mm-hmm.
So hour and a half. That's all we got. So we try to just run the set.
Run it.
I think too, it's a lot of us because we've been playing together for so long that we used to do that.
Mhm.
Like we used to do those 4-hour practice sessions
Right.
where, you know, we come home at 2:00 in the morning. My
Right.
wife would be like, "What are you
Right.
doing? You got kids."
Right.
And now it is everybody. It's just super concise.
Right.
It's really. I found you get so much more done if you show up prepared. Here's a chord charts for the songs we're talking about. Here's versions of them, and throw them out ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
And then people practice, they show up, and then
Mhm.
your rehearsals are about rehearsing and moving forward and not teaching people stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten really good about that in the last 2 years, and it's really helped us out anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I think I practice to however the person practices that wants to practice, because
Yeah.
I don't call practices.
Oh yeah.
You know, like because I'm really about the live situation. So
You're all about the improv thing too, right?
it's just part of the tradition that I
Yeah.
and I believe in it so much that I won't even tell people I'm doing it.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All of those soul nights completely made up.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
didn't want to make money off the fact that I was doing something that just should be done anyway. You know? So it's part of, I love it. And I deeply respect all forms of practice, though. So if I'm required to do that,
Yeah.
for example, we were learning something on Friday that we had a 6-hour practice, and it was not a hang.
Dang.
It was a practice, you know.
For
there
the
was
e-
there
for
was
the end of this month.
huh?
For the end of this
Yes,
month. Nice.
yes. For a single song, basically.
Nice.
But there were cigarette breaks because of cigarette, you know.
Yeah.
If people smoke cigarettes, I can't stop them from doing that. But there was about 3 cigarette breaks and a lunch in that 6 hours, but we were moving,
That's cool.
you know. It was a great time. So I'm all about like how do you all respond best to practice, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I understand that there's so many different ways. To me, if I'm playing music, I'll show up in any room. I don't, you know,
Yeah.
if I'm wanted there, let's go. Let's practice however you want. You know?
The but it does bring up that like I mean I think different people you can do that with, different people you can't.
Right.
Both of those. I mean I basically play in 2 bands and I'm kind of playing in the third now. But High Cold Wind and Slim Pickens are the 2 main bands I've been doing, and they're kind of the same people,
Mhm.
just like kind of different versions of the same thing. But I still have to treat both differently. Like one it's a little more free form. There's never any. It is kind of a lot of a hang,
Right.
you know. And we maybe work on 1 or 2 songs, and High Cold Wind is like band practice.
Mhm.
And it's just because of the people and having those like relationships with the people, and knowing what what my
Right.
role is in one and what my role is in the other.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And upcoming shows too.
upcoming
Like,
shows, of course.
Upcoming shows and band schedules. Like if you can get together with certain guys more often, or if you're, you know, like that, the practices become a little bit more loose. But if you're like, hey, this is the allotted time that we have, and we need to learn these parts, you know, I definitely think that those you can feel it in the room.
Yeah.
Even with a band, you can see all of their practices, and that practice before a show is
Mhm.
different, you know. So
Yeah.
But I think that streamlining the process, getting in, getting out, moving on, that's the way to do practice.
Yeah, if you can.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This could just be me.
Yeah.
But I love practice. Like,
Right.
to me, that's the part of being a musician. That's that's the meat in the sandwich.
Mm.
And like the performances and all that stuff is like dessert or whatever. But like the thing that sustains me is practice in at home or like practicing with the fellas.
Mm.
And I know that that's not the way it is for everyone. You know, not
Right.
everybody is that way, or looks at their instrument or their relationship with their instrument that way. But that's just kind of the way I always have. And you know, so dealing with, I mean, I guess I'm really only saying that to say like I have a different relationship than say you do. Who's like
Yes.
you know, if you're practicing is probably more on how to improvise and you know like improvisational things. I'm assuming. I don't know.
I'm going to be honest with you. You and I sit, and that's why I really love talking to you, is because you and I couldn't be more polar opposite in that approach.
Really.
And I respect. It has nothing to do with, you know, the guys that I play with are all practicers. Yeah, I'll go on record as saying that I haven't practiced.
Really.
Outside of somebody giving me a song, like, or figuring out what's in my head, you're looking at it live.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's not because I'm lazy. It's not because I don't spend time in my musical community. It's actually because I find that more valuable than playing my instrument personally.
Yeah.
Because of my role. And like, I don't really know what that role is, but I know what I feel like I need to do. Because I find myself when I practice chasing the next level.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to learn how to not do that in my life, so then I can bring it into because my life is my practice. Matter of fact, in college, like my professor called me in and he said, Joel, 6 hours of piano a week is not enough. He was like, you're practicing. And I took piano for 12 years of my life. I've never been able to play it. Never been able to play it. Like, I just couldn't get it. And like, that's the way my brain works. If it doesn't work, it just doesn't work. And he was like, can you explain to me why you're doing 10 hours of vocal practice a week and 6 hours? That's just not enough.
Yeah.
And I said, I gave on this diatribe about how my life is my practice. And he said, that's great, Mr. Four Lines, but I remind you that this life of education resides on paper, and your beliefs cannot be put on paper, you know, as a way to prove that you've practiced.
Yeah.
Is what he said. And so but ever since then, I've just not been able to practice because I was made to my whole life.
You're rebelling against it.
I don't know if it's rebelling. It's just like trying to unravel from it.
I got you.
I don't know what it is.
No,
But
I got you.
I wish I could, man. Whenever you talk about practicing, it's like this world that like I'm gonna travel to someday and reside in forever. You know?
Yeah, it doesn't take much, man.
I hope.
Metronome and one scale.
And man, it's not that I love it. I love it when I start.
Yeah.
When I sit down to practice with my friends or by myself to try to figure out, okay, this is a new pedal. What is the lead tone that I need to get?
Yeah.
But once that's done, I'm like, all right, hands off.
Got it.
Hands off. I don't want to think about it too much.
I know exactly what I need to do. Nailed it.
But when you build your career around improv and you can hit all the wrong notes, you know, you don't really need to figure out the right ones, right?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I want to co-sign on that.
But I don't want to put off the message of you shouldn't practice. You know,
no.
Like I don't want to, because the bands that I have been in,
well,
the full time,
you know songs,
right?
You know the songs,
but
so
we
obviously
did
practice.
We would do 9 hours a week. You know, 3-hour practices. You know, just got out of a 6-hour practice with the band. I'm just referring to my time solo. And so, because my problem was early on was, well, I'll never be able to improv if I practice by myself.
All right. You ever wonder, like, what the kitchen staff at the Brewhouse Ballroom thinks we're doing in here every time we smack hands like that?
I can guarantee you that I think there's just a collective. Don't ask what's going on in the green room. Understand?
Because we do. We walk past them with camera equipment, and like once a week, and we don't say anything to anybody. We just walk back here.
No
shut
eye
the door.
contact. No, I'm just kidding.
And they come in here. We make smacking noises, and we're laughing the whole time.
Oh man, it wouldn't be the craziest thing that's happened in here. That's for sure.
You're probably right.
This is a rock and roll green room.
I
right
bet
here.
there's some gross ghosts in here.
Mm-hmm. Get out the Lysol.
Ghosts of grossness past.
Yeah. Ghost of grossness.
Yeah. It is green too. Like that's the coolest part about this room. It is green.
I do. That's the one thing. If there is no green in the green room, I'm gonna be very frustrated and lined, walls lined.
Yeah, yeah. You know, we kind of got off track a little bit earlier. We were planning on talking about communication between musicians and like just relationships and collaborations and all that. We ended up getting into a whole practice session. But I did kind of want to talk about, because I really thought about it a lot today, and it's kind of funny how the world kind of comes around full circle, that we ended up talking about this today, because there's a guy that I think about, a musician that I think about in this term. His name is Jim Pankey, and he's a banjo player. Jim Pankey has a really great YouTube channel. He's a great teacher, really great teacher. I've been one of his Patreon subscribers for a while now, and he has just, really great banjo tabs. It's one of my heroes all around, really, because he's been around the whole time I've been around. He lives in North Georgia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he lives really, really close by. And so he wasn't a YouTube star when I first met him. He was just a banjo player who was like basically, he's about 10 years older than me or 15 years older than me. And he had been playing about 10 or 15 years longer than I had. And so he was always, still is, like someone to look up to, because he's an amazing banjo player.
Right.
But my attitude towards him has definitely changed over the years, because I don't know if this is just typical of bluegrass or banjo players, or if it's just my personal experience. But like banjo players they circle around each other with their arms chest dust out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like lead guitar players. I don't know why, but it just seems like banjo players are always like, every time
different. Yeah.
It's a different kind of relationship.
Yes.
I don't know why it is that way, but it is almost kind of like a little bit competitive when it comes to banjo players. And
is there gatekeeping too up front?
Not really.
Okay.
Banjo has like this thing where there's two distinct styles right now. Scrug style, which is what I play, which is, finger picks on your hand.
Right.
And old timer clawhammer banjo, which is no finger picks, right? And so it's, the clawhammer guys are like, they can't stand the Scruggs guys, and the Scruggs guys think they're too good, and the clawhammer is not hard to do or something like that. I don't know. I've tried to clawhammer, and I cannot do it. And I love clawhammer banjo. I suck at it. Anyway.
So either you got the touch or you don't kind of thing.
I wouldn't necessarily say that. Like Jim Pankey is a great clawhammer banjo player, and he teaches clawhammer banjo. He's got great lessons.
Right.
Steve Martin plays both.
Right.
And he's good at both.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Clawhammer I've just never been able to really pull it off.
Okay.
But when I very first kind of started, there was always this kind of jealousy of like, here's this guy. He's already got his foot in the door. He's already established, already playing. He already knows all the songs. And I was, aspire to be similar, like him, but he was kind of close enough that, especially as I started playing professionally, which is, by the time I met him, I was already playing professionally. I didn't know him when I was learning. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I was already kind of playing professionally, and I was always just kind of, I don't know. It was my own thing. Like in my own mind, I was always like jealous, or like he got better gigs than me, and I was always kind of like, Jim Pankey. But he also filled in for me, like as we got to know each other and become friends. We ended up doing some teaching things together when we had the Chattanooga Folk School, and then I actually got to know him more than just like he's the other banjo player that keeps getting the gigs I want. I got to know him as a person. And then, over these years, we've had a friendship that developed that, like I would say now, is a lot more like a mentorship where his banjo playing is just, to me, is top notch. And I love learning his tabs and learning the stuff that he does. It's just really, really great. But I had to kind of get over a mental block in my own head to get there. It's funny to me how that little gate that I put up in my own mind really kept me from learning and becoming a better banjo player and becoming what I actually wanted to be, which was, a stronger musician, because I wouldn't allow, Jim Pankey to be better than me.
Right. Right. Right.
In my mind, I was like, it's some force.
Mm-hmm.
I seem to do that. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. It seems like we do that with people, with random things. Like I had an application to fill out this week that just became the biggest hurdle all week. That when I finally sat down and did it, it took me 35 minutes. But it was a pebble in the back of my mind for like a week.
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of make your life better by being cooler and being friends with more people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it is an improvement.
Right.
As opposed to like trying to make yourself feel better by, puffing up
right.
or by creating distance between you and a person, because that's easier than it is to say, hey man, like I really like it. It's easier to be like, or it's definitely easier to just leave someone alone than to say, I don't get you or understand you. What is your deal?
Yeah, I like that concept. It's kind of like, well, if we're not going to know each other, it's not going to be because of me. You know, like reach out first and give people the opportunity to show you who they are.
I feel like that's something I'm still learning. I feel like I'm learning a lot from you from that. Like you're really good at being out front and hitting people. Sometimes I catch myself not even in a bad mood, but I'm just walking around with a scowl on my face.
Yeah.
I'm literally thinking about something else than where I'm at right now. And then I realize I'm just walking around here like, King A-hole.
Right. The game is, in my mind, if I'm afraid of that person, because there's something about that person I'm afraid of, right?
Yeah.
Then I'm going to go talk to him now. Definitely going to talk to him now. Because what I give myself the opportunity to do is to prove myself wrong or right.
Yeah, that's true.
And because you have to, what is it? Contempt prior to investigation.
I don't know what that means.
Like that means disdain or hate before I even, like knocking the food before I've even tried it.
I got it. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. One of my biggest pet peeves, I think, is when you'll knock it before you try it.
Yeah.
Because to me that shows, and so I've noticed that in myself with the same thing. With a band or with a person, you can kind of burst that bubble in yourself, but I'm definitely not going to sit here and I'm just as guilty as you are.
Yeah.
And I think being in Nashville taught me that a lot. Like it's like you're going to make this world of conversation around this. Hey man, what's going on? Hey, you having a good day? You know what? I was thinking that too today. That's all that 5 seconds. And what do they say? Because it's fear from me. And it's 50 miles tall, 50 miles wide, and paper thin.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I feel like that's that application.
And I feel like that's exactly what we're here to do as people in community, is to say, hey man, I am owning the fact that if people are to be welcomed in, it's to be by me. That's what I want to walk into a community and, well, where are the people that are welcoming these new people? Oh, that's my job.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And you do a great job of that at Bluegrass, and you've done a.
Well, see, I think I know for sure I have to be on Tuesday nights. You know what I mean? I'm concentrating on Bluegrass night. I'm trying to be welcoming very much, but it's that day in and day out where I have the issue. I walk in the grocery store with earbuds in, and even though I know I passed, two musicians or something like that, I'm focused on my business here, and then I realize I'm just walking around here with a eat, crap, and die look, and I don't mean that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I don't know. I guess it kind of comes back full circle because tomorrow Jim Pankey and I are shooting we're doing a collab on a video,
Oh,
YouTube
wow.
video in here.
Here it
about
comes.
Like jam rules, you know. And so the
Oh,
last
wow.
couple of days,
I would love to see that. That's
Yeah.
cool. That's
So-
a great topic.
for the last couple of days, we've been kind of shooting back and forth emails about, you know, we're going to create a PDF document and do this whole thing, right? But it was just, I started thinking about it this morning when we started talking about musical relationships, and that being one. Like, I would say, like, there's been 3 real big banjo kind of heroes, and luckily for me, they're all close. And I would say he's the third, the one that I probably listen to and learn from the most is Jim Pankey right now.
Wow.
My initial teacher, Clyde Blaylock, I learned a ton about banjo from him. And then I studied with this guy named Doc Cullis, who was a banjo player for the Dismembered Tennesseans for years and years and years, and still is. But I learned from him for like a little under about a year and a half, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned different things from each one of those people. But I think I've learned the most about this kind of new relationship with Jim Pankey, because it's been like me
Wow.
overcoming something and being like, Jim Pankey,
Right.
he gets all the gigs.
Right.
Why don't I get the
Right.
gigs? And now I'm like, actually, you know, I was just going to study some of his banjo
Right.
playing. And then for the last 2 years, I've been like, I'm in awed by Jim Pankey every time I see him. You know?
That's awesome. I love when that happens. I love when that happens. Have you told him this? Have you told him all?
No, he's gonna. If he ever watches this or
That's
hears
great.
this, that'll be the first time.
Oh,
No.
that's awesome.
No. That's the thing. I'm too scared to say that to anybody face to
And-
face.
I think that's like a spot it, you got it, for good or for bad. If you can see it in somebody else, it's because it's right there. It's right there.
Okay. Yeah. I know what you're saying.
And you've got to be. That's a very. If you go, because I did that for a few years, the spot it, you got it method. So if I'm finding it in the world, it's because it's, and so I need to do some self-reflection and stuff like that. And it gets weird. There's some ins and outs to that concept, but I really feel that way. Music does that the best. If I walk into a show and I see a guy just blah 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 doing this or
Just-
that, or these small nuances of what they're doing, I'm able to identify that because I've identified that in myself. And either I can choose to really appreciate it, or do what a lot of musicians find themselves doing, me being included, breaking it down right in front. How can I do that? What's going on? You see 2 different ways of watching the show. While we were watching Spafford, for example, I'm in it, and then I'm analyzing it. You know, there was those 2 levels of what's going on. So
I had one I felt guilty about, Spafford.
okay,
Yeah. You and I were sitting there talking, and we had been watching the band for a little while now, but we hadn't really commented on the band or really said very much about them. They'd gone through, I don't know, I mean, one song was like 30 minutes, so it could probably been just whatever, 1 or 2 songs. Anyway, the first thing I said was about something I wished a member on stage would do. I wish they would do this. Or
Right.
I wish they would do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I really kicked myself all night long for not saying on the positive end first.
Right.
I really like this. I really like this because it came off as he doesn't like this band or you know, it sounded like I was complaining, and I really wasn't. I really was like, this is
right.
a 99% total package, and there's one thing that it annoys me because I'm stupid, and it's this one little thing.
But the one thing
But
that
that's
you
what I
said,
led with.
but the one thing you said was basically because you saw something in that person that you were like, shine on, brother. Just shine on.
Yeah.
Just shine on. And I felt the same way. Like, shine on, dude. Sometimes somebody's hitting all the 3-pointers and you just got, dude, keep shooting.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
on tonight. Like,
Yeah.
and so I think there's a little bit of that, because I totally agreed
Yeah.
with you, you know, but
Yeah.
I totally understand.
But it wasn't.
Both sides.
I mean, I think that point was still valid. It was just
Yeah.
that I really wish I had said I love this, and this, and this.
Right.
That was all true. I
Right.
did love all of those
Right.
things before. I said the one negative thing that I even thought was really was about opinion and probably nothing else. You know.
And where I can apply that immediately in collaboration is when we're doing stuff musically or like something like this. I need to come with, hey, this is what you're doing great. Because if I don't lead with that, it does come across a little nitpicky.
Yeah.
I didn't take it that way though.
Yeah.
Because
we've been friends a while.
yeah, and also we're two musicians like standing there, so we're definitely gonna have something to say. And add the friend element, like you say anything to me anytime you want. I'm not gonna be like, Randy's negative, you know.
Yeah.
But I totally hear like the mind of the musician though in that is like, man, I wish this would happen more. And man, golly, by the end of that night, all of it happened. So
everything happened that night. Was
everything
such a great show. I hate to keep harping back on it, man, but it was a fantastic night.
It was cool seeing the show with you too, man.
Yeah.
That was cool. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I agree. I had a great time. We need to do more dancing though, for sure.
There was a moment where you looked at me and I totally understand this because of playing pedal steel and in certain groups that aren't jam, but they got into a like super funky riff based acid electro jam.
Yeah.
And you were like, that's what I miss about being in a jam band.
That is true.
know?
That is true.
And I remember it was just
that.
like, you were basically saying to me, what I heard was, you better be grateful. You better be grateful that, you know, but I look at bluegrass and say the same thing. I'm like, man, jam bands are not hitting harmonies like that. Like, it's really cool to how we can just appreciate genre, you know, and that's why I like watching with you, because you can see those different pockets.
Yeah, it is fun to watch shows with other musicians. It's fun, honestly. I love picking apart other people's shows with another musician and just being funny, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And just cutting it up.
Yeah.
That's fun. You just can't do it. I think this is part of like what makes it difficult to be friends with musicians, because I think it is more difficult to be friends with musicians. I know we kind of talked about it a little bit before, but to kind of bring it back around, I think this is one of the reasons why is because everybody works so hard. They have so much wrapped up into what they're doing that any critique, any small thing feels huge. You know what I mean? And I think, again, this could completely be me projecting, and because I've felt that way before. Like anytime, you know, like I put so much effort into this and somebody says, you know, you really ought to maybe think about this one thing, which could maybe be a blind spot that I hadn't seen, and they were correct, but I would just be so offended that they could, you know, not see my vision of art. And it took time to get over that, or to realize that I was being an enemy to myself, you know, by not listening to other people or taking in what, you know, other people were saying. That's not really what I mean. Musicians are very sensitive about music, and they get their feelings squashed on, stepped on a little bit.
Right. And especially, I can see what you're saying, it being harder to be friends with musicians because of also all the things that go in and out, especially if you're in different projects, you know.
Yeah.
Like you're looking at, you know, and it's so interesting how competition and comparison do play into the creative's life so much, and being able to balance that is a very challenging thing.
Definitely.
Especially, you know, I tell people all the time, I think the first lesson you can learn about music, interpersonal relationships, learn how to rejoice with your friends that are musicians.
For sure.
Learn how to mourn with your friends that are musicians. Learn how to meet them exactly where they're at. You know, the highs of the highs and the lows of the lows. You know, I'm not saying like, you know, but like if something happens, dude, in somebody's career, like learn how to sit with that person and take time to, you know, be in that depressive space with them, to let them know they're not alone and pull them up.
Yeah.
Also, when somebody succeeds and feels like they're on the highest of the heights, nobody's there either. And so that's a lonely place. So I have a heart for that for sure. And like you were saying about listening, once again, it goes back to the most important thing that a musician can do, which is the first thing we stop doing, is listening.
Yeah.
You know, like for whatever reason. And
It's because you're not practicing, bro.
it's because I'm not practicing, man. But listen, you know. I mean, what? Yeah, I'm listening so much, I'm not practicing, man. But I'll tell you what I could be better at interpersonally with musicians is just not taking myself so seriously, dude.
Yeah, that's me too, man.
Come on, man. Like, who cares? It's okay. That's a person standing right there, you know. And also, I've shared this on my story. This hits my brain all the time. It is so much more important to understand than to be understood. Just seek for that understanding. Like, I don't really need to be understood. I just want to be out here listening to people, trying to hear what they're going through and hear where they're at. It just seems so much more important to flip it outward than whatever is going on in my head, because inspiration comes immediately.
Yeah.
I know exactly what it is. So all I have to do is just be of service until inspiration strikes. Really, pressure's off. So I think these kind of attitudes are being, that's how you are more of service in the musical sphere. Is if it is an immaterial gift, then focus on those immaterial gifts that we give each other outside of music, like encouragement, support, listening, you know. So anyway. What? I'll ask this question. When it comes to collaboration, I've always wanted to know, like, what are people looking for when they're looking for collaborators, right? Like, what are you looking for? Your equal opposite? Are you looking for somebody you can just hang with? What are we looking for?
I mean, again, this is kind of one of the things I think is going to be kind of tailor made for each musician or where you're at in your career. You know, to me, number one, it has to make sense artistically. Like, do you have respect for this person musically? You want to play with them? Is it something you want to do that you want to have, you know, your name on? And I think, you know, the other options are to do something in the complete other vein, be like bluegrass band and ska punk band from California, do a collaboration and just to see what it sounds like or something like that. I mean, I think those have merit, especially like I said, if it's something where you really respect what they're doing musically,
right?
You know, then go for it.
Mm-hmm.
I have there's a band in San Diego called Tunnel Vision, and they're like a Southern California surf ska band, and they covered one of my songs. They covered a song called "The Last Mile" a few years back on one of their albums. That was really cool. Like, and I really got to hang out with those dudes quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And having those connections has actually helped out a little bit with some California things that are happening later on this year. So, yeah.
That's exciting. Yeah, those are good.
It's cool. Like, there's just all kinds of different collaborations to do. You should try to do as many as you can.
Right. Yeah, because I've seen, the reason why I was asking you is I've seen people collaborate with you that have a huge following, and I've seen you collaborate with people that in relation you have a huge following too. And so there really isn't a respecter of you're not looking for how many followers somebody has.
No, well,
I
think I would say like even the bigger people that I've done collaborations with who have bigger follower counts, like Hudson or Nick, it was always about music first. The collaborations are doing those videos that I did with Hudson was second, you know, like an afterthought. The only collaborations that I've even done on social media with Nick would be you know, these latest like tour ads that we're doing for this tour. And so everything and I've been playing with Nick for 4 years now, you know, so everything was really about music first always. So I think that's got to be the most important thing is like, is it something you want to do musically? Like, follower count doesn't matter. If I collaborate with somebody who's the Macarena is their big thing, that fan base is not going to be like, all of a sudden become bluegrass banjo fans. You know what I mean? Like so you kind of have to do something that makes sense. I think that's the biggest thing is just making sure it makes sense. But in Chattanooga, you have a ton of opportunities. There's a lot of musicians around that do collaborations. I'm gonna do I'm sitting in with Cassavat Chat, which is like a Fish, tribute band here in town. It's odd to have a banjo in there, but I like Fish, and we're all friends. So I was like, hey, I'll jump in and open up, and then I'm gonna sit in a song. That's a cool collaboration. It's not necessarily like crazy off the scale, weird, different.
And it's in the history of Fish with
but it's
Mosier going on tour with them and playing with it.
Yeah,
So,
But it is, a little bit different.
Yeah. It's out.
So-
Most definitely different.
Hey, Chattanooga, on January 30th, there's only one place to be, and that's at Songbirds here. Randy Still in the Hot Cold Wind, and Michael Pruitt and Crunchgrass Supreme from Kentucky play bluegrass music.
Chattanooga on January 30th, there's only one place to be, and that's at Barrel House Ballroom with St. Owsley. It's going to be a blast. 3 sets acoustic and 2 sets whatever. My bad. There's going to be 5 total sets. Everybody's going to be playing.
That's a good ad.
Chattanooga, January 30th, there's only one place to be, and that is Barrel House Ballroom. We're going to be having St. Owsley first acoustic set and then 2 electric sets follow them. We're going to have a bunch of people in, members of Tennessee's Dead. It's going to be a good time. There's only 2 places to be. Choose one, right?
Actually, Chattanooga, on January 3rd, there's only one place to be, and that's going to be at Songbirds to hear Michael Pruitt and Crunchgrass Supreme and my band Randy Still in the Hot Cold Wind play bluegrass music all night long and have good times and dance and do all the things that you can't do at Joel's show. We'll see you guys there January 30th at Songbirds.
He did way better job than me.
I get to do the editing, so. Yeah. I wanted to tell you about a show coming up this weekend. There is a singer-songwriter in town. Her name is Bella Lamb. She's been in town playing for quite a while. I've never had a chance to see her play, but I saw that she was coming to play at Songbirds on the 24th, so I did some research and investigation this morning and listened to a bunch of her songs. She has a couple that are on Spotify, and she has one that's fixing to come out, I think, in about 2 weeks or something like that. But she's coming to town to play here at Songbirds. Now, if you look at her schedule, she plays in Chattanooga quite a bit, but she is been picking up shows in Bristol. She's picking up shows. She's been playing Bluebird for a while. She won one of those Tennessee Song Weeks.
Okay.
So she's been playing Bluebird Cafe, did songwriter nights and stuff like that, which is really cool. But the majority of the places that she's playing around town are like Buds or like Hi-Fi Clydes and stuff like that. But playing Songbirds, different deal.
Right.
That's a different deal.
Step up.
I mean, to me, it's the best listening room in town. I mean, 100 cap, great stage, great sound. It's just one of the best places to actually hear somebody, a band you want to hear hear them play. And I think that show right there that's my pick of the weekend on the 24th. Bella Lamb at Songbirds. If you're looking for a good time, I would definitely go check that show out. I hope I'm saying that right.
Bella Lamb.
I don't know if that is right.
That's a good name.
Well, it's Lam. There's no B. So I'm assuming that's Bella Lamb. She has a good tequila song. She does not look like she's 21, but she does have a good tequila song.
I love that.
I listened to it 3 times on the way over here.
A good drinking song written by a 21, 22-year-old.
She probably is. I don't know. Everyone looks like a child now.
It was either her, I think it was her, at the wood shop. She was opening for somebody.
I think I did see her at the wood shop recently.
And I heard that song.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, right when you said that, I was like, oh, because I thought the same thing. I said, man, good drinking songs are getting written by real young people, you know? I mean, this is the passion and exuberance, you know. Love it.
Yeah, she has a new song coming out, and she has like a preview of it on her Instagram page, and I listened to it. It sounds really cool, and it has a banjo like right out of the gate. So I was like, oh, cool.
Big fan.
Yeah, I like it. But yeah, Bella Lamb, check her out. She's got a great social media. She's got 50,000 followers on TikTok. She's one of those that I really do kind of think like, if you look at her trajectory, if she sticks with it and she just stays that, she's
Any day now.
like poised, like the
Any day
cannon, like the
now.
cannon is ready to fire.
That's
you
right.
know?
That's right.
And she's doing all the things you have to do. She's
Mhm.
playing everywhere she can play and traveling and building out in other markets and stuff like that. So that's cool. I mean, I love to see that. I love to see somebody from Chattanooga doing that. We've had so many people here recently kind of break out from here between Monrovia and Sunny War, and all of these like local musicians have kind of popped
Mhm.
out. I think it's really difficult to argue that we don't have good music in Chattanooga. We don't have a good music scene.
Yeah, I told you, I probably said this last week, but people have said to me consistently from other places when I've traveled and everything else, when I've mentioned that I'm from Chattanooga, or they knew they either said, y'all are doing great, or, hey, you know what's going on in your city?
Yeah.
You know, everybody in the Southeast and across the U.S. now, they know exactly what Chattanooga's doing.
Yeah, we have some great music around here right now. It's really,
I mean,
really fun.
yeah,
Really fun.
I was at brunch yesterday and a thought came to me and it said, take this time in.
Yeah,
Take this in,
Be
because
here now.
you can say that you were here when something was happening. You know, it really is a special
It
time.
does kind of feel like that right now.
Every show that I walk into or everything, it feels like it's important.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's very something important is happening.
Yeah.
And there could be 5 people at the show, but there's still something very important happening culturally in this town. And man, I'm glad I'm around to see it, you know. You could see it 10 years ago. It was coming. I mean,
in Chattanooga.
yes.
Yeah.
Man, when we would travel through playing with I was in Cosmic Shift at the time. We were playing here every 2 months. And Chattanooga was supporting more than they supported more than our hometown Nashville did, you
Really?
know. I remember telling the boys, I said, guys, you know, if this continues happening, I'm going to go where people want us to be.
Yeah.
You know, like Nashville had just, wasn't really a place for what we were doing. And so I came to Chattanooga and saw the support, and I had to be here because I knew something was on the way, but I also was completely content with what was happening 10 years ago too. And so it's kind of mind-boggling be able to be in a community that's a thriving and encouraging, authentic community of music, you know.
Yeah.
Because I hate using the word successful, because to me,
It's tough to define.
if everybody in the scene is aware of mental health and we're helping each other there, that's successful to me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Yeah, I think successful is a loaded word too. You know, it's kind of weird in any art. It just seems like such a loaded word.
and this is a great topic. I mean, we could unpack this for a long time, but yes, it is a loaded word. And yes, it does receive a definition from outside entities beyond the individual. You know, like I've been given what success looks like from everybody else, rather than, well, what does success look like for you?
Yeah.
You know, and that was an idea encouraged way later in life than it should have been.
Yeah,
you know.
I kind of think it's something you have to learn. You have to wait to learn anyway. You know, there's like
Okay,
some
cool.
of those lessons. Is
I
like,
wasn't that far behind then.
those like, no, I don't think so. I think there's some of those things like your youth
Yeah,
makes you, because you don't have, 10 years of making mistakes, or at any point in time
Right.
as an adult.
right.
You think about it. You're 25. You're 10 years ago you were 15. You're still a kid.
Mm.
So man, halfway, you're even halfway through your 20s, you don't have enough experience to really say,
Man, that brings. I haven't thought about this
so
since.
like those,
wow.
you get those like kind of 10 years of being an adult, and then you're like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, I kind of seen it. It's like it's coming up. It's like Groundhog's Day. You're like, oh yeah, I learned that lesson twice. Once in my early 20s, once in my 30s. I'm in my 40s. I don't see any reason to make that mistake again.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the way I feel about pickleball.
You.
I don't see a reason to learn the same mistake over and
There you
over
go.
again.
There you go.
I just destroy my knees every time I go play pickleball.
I'm getting
Not cool.
I'm getting closer and closer to that as well. That's such. I remember something that my high school coach told me. He would always say, "You haven't made enough mistakes yet."
Yeah, yeah.
He would say
I
that
would say there's
sometimes.
validity in that too, for sure.
But where that's really cool is that it re-identifies failure as just a learning experience.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's really that's a good thing to remember for sure.
That's one of the things I came up with for our jam lesson was the idea that, like, don't put too much pressure on yourself for taking a break, like when you're taking a break in the jam,
Mm-hmm.
because so many people are so focused on what they're doing that they're not really paying attention to you anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And that was leave your break in the wake. Just put it in your rear view. Huh?
That's good.
You think?
That's
T-shirt,
good.
hat.
T-shirt.
Yep.
Leave your break in the wake. Man, I like that.
I should definitely have got some screen printing so I could waste some money on.
Hey, there's still
logos.
time.
Yeah, that's true.
There is still a
That is
lot
true.
of time.
That is true.
That it hasn't even been released yet. You know,
Yeah.
the episode. We're this is when it starts happening right here. You just saw $1 million idea.
We'll see. Maybe I'll make the YouTube video. We'll find out. You can check it out. Jim Pankey on YouTube.
Those things need to start coming out from under the shade tree. How do we jam? You know, like now people are playing bluegrass outside of circles. So we need to get those lessons to the people that are looking for them, you know, about the jam. And because, man, there are a lot of unwritten rules of the jam.
Yeah.
And I'm not even a bluegrass player, so I'm talking about a whole other world. So I can't imagine how many.
We have it listed as like 14, and I'll put a link whenever he puts it out. I'm not sure when he does, but whenever he does, I'll try to tag a link on the YouTube video so you guys can check it out. But some of the lessons, or some of the, I don't want to go through all of them because we're gonna do it, but those are the ones that I came up with. That one, and try to be inviting. Like, if you see somebody outside the jam, smile and wave at them and say, "Come join us," because they may just be looking for an invitation to come play. You know what I mean?
I like the concept of you're only as good as the newcomer.
Yeah,
and you can't put all the, because I put all the pressure on that sometimes, and then the person gets kind of freaked out. But like, you have to have a handout to those people.
Oh yeah.
That are just first coming in, and the better way to say it is the newcomer is the most important person at the jam.
Yeah.
It's like if we can be that inviting.
We try to do that for sure on Tuesdays. Not every jam is that way though, and I think too, like, just recognizing what they are, because some jams are like elite level players who want to play with elite level players.
Right.
And if you walk in and you're like, "Hey, I just learned wagon wheel. Can we do it?"
Right.
People are not going to be happy.
Right.
But that's not really, like, that's not what the Tuesday night jam is. The Tuesday night jam is pretty chill, pretty open.
Of course. Super inviting.
But I think that there's validity and there's good reason to have all of those jams.
Yes.
Yes. It's just those elite level jams tend to be closed off, and it's not something you would just kind of wander into anyway. Usually you're invited to. So they don't really apply, you know what I mean? Like, because almost every time it's like they know you or they invited you there. Mm-hmm. The amount of times I watch people just hover around the outside of a bluegrass circle, and they'll just sit around, they'll have a guitar on, and you can see, and they're just like desperately hoping one person inside that circle makes eye contact and just like, "Hey," it's just the slightest gesture, and they're like, "Oh," and then they go,
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's just like, that's all you need. Just sometimes just make eye contact with a fellow human being, and make a small gesture, and it makes a huge difference in that person's life. Like, yes, I get to play.
I think Joe Zambi and I talk a lot about this with his relationship with Bruce, and it's permission to exist is the most important thing you can give anybody. And when you have a friend, and you can't give that to everybody. I can't give that to everybody, but the people that I can try to help foster that with, man, that's everything. And especially now, authentically, like, not how I want you to exist, but be who you are. And yeah, come on over here, man. check it out. If you like it, cool. If you don't,
Yeah, yeah.
there's another circle somewhere,
Yeah, yeah. Give myself one more. There they go. They're like, what was that?
What was that?
That giggle I just did didn't help.
Right? But being available to the concept of permission to exist and giving that, there's been a couple times in jam sessions that we were hosting that somebody came in and only knew 2 chords, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I gave this speech to this person about, we only need 2 chords. What you got? A and D? Sweet. We'll do Love Light. Let's go. Get up there and we do it. And it meant so much to this person,
Yeah.
Well, then there are situations where the person only knows 1 chord, right? And I'm like, sweet, we'll go up there and we'll do some James Brown, And we get up there and we do it, and the person just looks so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So uncomfortable. And I'm like, okay, I'll play a little harder, okay, man, I'll play a little soft. And there's nothing I could do to welcome this person into this environment, And the thing that really steps out, it really sticks out to me is the pressure that I put on those situations to work.
Yeah.
And what I've learned over the years is all you can do is, once again, like you were saying earlier, just reach out. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
And if somebody really grabs onto that, it's the concept that you don't go looking for students. The students will find you, kind of thing. And man, those moments are really teachable, not only on the invited side, but on the inviter's side, because I put so much pressure on my people pleasing self to, so I've learned over the years, all I can do is just make eye contact, that's all you can do.
Yeah.
And beyond that, it's out of my control,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you're right. That's it. That is.
But I kind of let my idealism drive the ship. And sometimes James Brown is not what that girl wanted to do at all.
Yeah.
She's a folk singer, And so once again, it goes back to, when collaborating, the first thing I need to do is truly listen to not just to what the person, but how the person is being, how comfortable are they? How are they holding their guitar? What position do they see themselves in? And then what I love, though, the most rewarding thing is when that person slouched over, with weird, technique or whatever, they start singing with it.
Mm-hmm.
In that moment, in the whole circle, everybody kind of looks at each other.
Yeah.
This is it for this, because I've been in those rooms where a 16-year-old starts jamming for the first time, and everybody goes, "Uh-oh, he's ruined. He's ruined.
Yeah.
He'll never do anything else." So that, those rules that you were talking about are put in place so that can give us a framework for those amazing moments to happen.
Yeah. The idea behind this post is unspoken. These are kind of unspoken, not really rules, but these are kind of this is, they're make sure you have good timing.
Right.
Timing is the most important part. So, pay attention to your timing. There's a bunch of different things like that. So it's just kind of some unspoken things. And the idea is that everybody will be happier if everybody understands the parameters around what you're doing.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, in the jam, there's been many times where people have showed up with percussion instruments, about 3 or 4 times that's happened. And I always have to go over and be like, hey, listen, there's a thing about bluegrass music. I got a whole speech dialed in now. At first, it took a little bit of,
finesse.
Now it's happened so many times that I got a whole speech.
You have a disclaimer. Yeah.
Yeah. And it works out really well most of the time. Every now and again, you get,
Is that uncomfortable? Is that ever uncomfortable for you?
Well, the thing is, it's a jam killer. It kills everything. They just don't understand it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the whole spiel really is about, bluegrass music is about a shared rhythm. The bass player is playing on the 1 and the 3. The mandolin player is playing on the 2 and the 4. The guitar player is playing 8th notes, and the banjo player is typically playing 16th notes for 32nd notes, right? So we all share this rhythm because we don't have a percussion instrument. But the minute you put a percussion instrument, we have to obey your rhythm. So you take that away from the jam, right? When you all of a sudden introduce percussion, because now we have to, you're louder,
Right.
and we can't compete with your percussion
Right.
volume wise. So we have to do your rhythm.
Right.
And so that's kind of the spiel, is like,
Right.
so like, it's not nothing against you. It's just that this is what bluegrass music is. It's without drums. It's without percussion. My 16-year-old is a drummer. I would love to have him over here playing, but it just destroys the
Right.
bluegrass jam. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we've had, that conversation it's only really been, I think in the very beginning, there was one time where I should have had more poise, than just to be like, stop it. It was
Right.
pretty much what I did.
Right.
It was like, yo, dude, you can't play drums here.
Right.
Get out. No,
Right.
I didn't say get out, but I definitely feel like I handled it the wrong way. Like I probably should have just, maybe just walked over there, but I
Right.
would have had to stop the jam to walk over there. I don't know. Now I think I've got to figure it out. Again, I've learned this mistake. I did it the wrong way a
Right.
couple times, so now I know the right way. Again, that's a good thing about being old.
Right. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think old is the word, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
I don't know. If you saw me get out of bed in the morning, you'd be like, "Yeah, he's old." It's rough, dude.
It's a routine just getting out.
It's tough, man. I never thought I would be as dependent on coffee as I never really was a coffee drinker until I stopped drinking alcohol, and then started drinking coffee mainly just, I don't know.
Keep going.
Just in the mornings I'm like, I just do not function anymore without a cup of coffee.
Did you get busier after retirement?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Things
Wow.
are very, really busy right now.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot happening. Yeah, man, some things that are really cool that I can't wait to tell everybody about.
Right.
And, summer's already kind of packed up and busy. It's going to be a good year.
That's a good feeling. That's a good
Yeah,
feeling.
it's a good feeling.
Having
man.
things that you can't, that you're working so hard on that, people see what you're already doing, but these announcements are coming, so that's exciting,
yeah, it's
man.
been really fun. There's just been feel blessed because there's been a bunch of things happening this year. So, yeah, it feels cool and weird and don't feel like I deserve it. And
Stuff you've been working on for your whole life, man.
Yeah.
And that's, I definitely feel, I'm not the only one, but we all, when I see work paying off, it has not just been 2 years in the making.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I mean, it's been a lifetime of work for these achievements. So
Yeah.
get them, open arms, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah,
Break 'em
trying to
in,
grab
brother.
'em. Yeah, yeah. What you have anything you're looking forward to this weekend?
This weekend I'm recording more on the album, so doing that, and then Clyde's, they had a cancellation.
No kidding.
Yeah, so Adam called me and said, "Hey, man, do you have any people that you?" And I said, "Yeah, man, we got some people in town for the album, so just pulling in,
So y'all just get an album jam out of
Well,
Clyde's?
Adam Stone, Drew McDowell, me, Hill Roberts, Matt Williams, that's producing the album, and then Garv on percussion, possibly Mark Chester as well.
That'll be fun,
But
though.
we're literally running from the studio.
Studio started. Was it
Just
Saturday
run-
night?
Yep, 7:00. Leaving the studio for the show at 9. So
Nice. Dude.
it's gonna be a good time.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, man. I haven't played it, Clyde's, in forever. So
Clyde's is always a blast. I love playing Clyde's.
mhm.
It's some reason the loudest possible room in
Right.
town, right at the very front of the stage.
Right.
And it's because you have to you got a lot of people in the front who are wanting to listen to the show, and then people are trying to get into the bathroom. I don't know what it is. Maybe because the speakers are out there. And this is a bluegrass thing. You guys probably don't have to even think about this or consider because you got amps and drums and stuff. But man, the freaking crowd is so loud when you're
Really?
playing bluegrass. They're just right in there. I mean, louder than the monitors, louder than everything.
I
Is
never even
that
thought
crowd
about that.
right in the very front. It's funny. Yeah, playing with amps and drums, you probably don't never even had that issue one bit. But playing acoustic instruments, it's always like, oh man, Clyde's the loudest bar that there is.
That's so funny because there's every venue has their thing,
Yeah,
right?
for
Every
sure.
venue, that you go to, there's the pros and the cons. And I always think it's interesting hearing other people's perspective on, the bars,
Yeah.
because we would play Clyde's and people were like, well, we just don't go down that far, south. This is about 10 years ago. So I'm like, what do you mean? We drive 45 minutes to go anywhere,
Yeah.
So it's always funny hearing that. And I never thought about that because yes, it is loud. Everybody's enjoying it. It's packed to the gills.
Yeah, it's
Everybody's
always
either
packed.
watching the game or talking to their next, girlfriend or boyfriend. And then boom, here's the show. But we have amps cranked.
Yeah.
Never even thought about it. And yeah, our shows that we play eventually are loudest there because, that's so interesting.
Do you, I kind of like going to play at Clyde's when there is a big game going on
Mm-hmm.
because no matter what, no matter how bad you play,
Right.
that crowd's going to go wild.
That's right.
A couple times.
That's right.
And it's going to be probably about football.
Lose
but
their mind.
It's fun.
Hey, and you get to run off of that excitement. That's
Yeah.
right.
We played, I can't remember what, it was a big SEC game a year ago or 2 years ago, and Georgia won. And they were, I can't remember what it was, but man, you talking about a fun night.
Yeah.
After Georgia won, that everybody that was there was a Georgia fan. This is postseason game, I believe. And man, they got down. from
Having
that
a
point forward,
blast.
Having a big old blast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
It's good to be there for that.
Yeah, those are always
What
fun.
you got coming up this weekend?
This weekend is Spigma Weekend, which is the Society for the Preservation of Bluegrass Music in America. They have a big convention in downtown Nashville in a hotel
Is it at the Sheridan still?
at the Sheraton.
Okay,
Mhm.
right across the interstate from the airport.
Yeah.
Right
So I have a couple things to knock out here,
Right,
random
right.
things out. And Thursday,
Right.
we're playing with East Nash Grass, which is going to be awesome.
Oh, wow. Where?
At Songbirds.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yo, East Nash Grass.
Yeah.
That's an insane bill.
That's
okay.
going to be fun.
Gotta go.
But then we're headed to Spigma. I'm going to head up to Spigma and hang out up there.
And for those of you who don't know, Spigma is culturally, I think, the most impactful phenomenon that you can witness.
It's pretty wild.
Like the biggest cultural bluegrass thing you can witness. I mean, can you tell them what, I mean?
Yeah. So, like I said before, it's a convention. The convention happens, like in the, like kind of the downstairs of the Sheraton where they have ballrooms and those kind of things. And then they also have awards because Spigma gives out their own like banjo player of the year, album of the year, vocal. So, they do their award ceremony too there. So it's kind of like a mini IBMA, but it's a little more, whereas IBMA isn't quite scared to step outside the bounds of bluegrass. This is pretty much traditional bluegrass. There's not going to be anybody that should be like, well, they're kind of folky. It's bluegrass. It's bluegrass.
Right.
You're right. But the best part about the whole thing is everybody stays in that hotel. And so there's all of these, there's literally entire
Every
floors full of people with jam circles going in their hotel rooms. And it goes all night long. I mean, literally, it's like 2 full day, 48 hours of just bluegrass jamming.
Yep.
And just blurry-eyed people having good times.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't told my wife I'm going to go there yet, but planning on trying to get up there this weekend.
That's right. I mean, and when he's saying like whole floors, like probably 100 rooms of jam sessions going on in that hotel.
Yeah.
And you're going to see probably now that with the advent of social media, you're going to see a lot of bluegrass videos come out in hotel rooms.
They always do, yeah.
In hotel rooms. And when you see that, that's exactly what that's from. So
Yeah.
it being
Look in the background, you may see your old buddy Randy.
that's right. That's right. You will.
But yeah, that's me this weekend is East Nash Grass Thursday, then got a couple things to knock out Friday, then heading up to go Spigma down.
That's right. Well, I hope you have a good time. That's like huge. And you can see a lot of old friends too.
Yeah, I can't wait. I got a couple friends I'm looking forward to seeing.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big time.
A lot of IBMA friends. It's going to be good.
4 incredible country music bands. You're going to have a great night of line dancing at JJ's Bohemia on Friday, January the 23rd with Gas Station Boner Pills, Pinch Hitter, Jakey Let's Go, and Key Party. See you guys there.